Good afternoon, everybody. Uh, Namaskar. It's an honor to have Kalieaswari Srinivasan and Antonythasan Jesuthasan with us. Um, Welcome to Goa. Vanakkam. Okay.
Thank you.
And so let me just, I'm a little jet lagged, so I'm going to be referencing some notes which I made this morning to ask them. Last year, if you may, I had seen Deepan, not once but twice. Okay, went for two screenings, and from that time, that film really impacted me. The Odad's film, both from a point of view of story and the character's journey, and also the intensity of the two performers. So, which led for me to find them, and fortunately, I have been connected with them for now a few months, several months, and I've tried to know them more. So it's really good that they could come over here and have in conversation with about what drives them and a little more about the film. So I'll start with the lady first. Uh, Sorry. You know, we'll start with the film and then we'll go about where you're coming from and what's your background and the interaction between stage and cinema, etc. Okay. The film is about a family. Okay. And it brought three strangers and made a family out of it. So, how was it for you to carry forward this idea of family in the film when you're totally with strangers and you made it so believable in screen?
To an extent, I think there wasn't much for me to do because the three of us were actually strangers. And also, the film was shot, fortunately for me, almost chronologically, very much chronologically. So it so happened that, especially me and the little girl, we kind of ended up bonding over our work over a period of time. So we ended up being l- kind of a family at the end of towards the end of the shoot. So I guess it was just the process and the chronology. And also, the three of us, we kind of have had a very cool chemistry, you know. So I think that helped.
Was it also the language bound you together?
Yeah, not exactly. You know, the two of them are Sri Lankans. They speak Sri Lankan Tamil, which is their mother tongue. I speak Yangur Tamil, Madras, Chennai Tamil, which is my mother tongue, which is completely, not completely, but to an extent, very different from the pure Sri Lankan Yapana Jaffna Tamil. So the girl would initially say, "Ninga, you don't speak my language," abdina. Then I had to, like, you know, kind of try and at least emulate successfully to an extent the Sri Lankan Tamil, so that the language was a common factor. So
So, was this your first film or?
yeah, yeah.
Imagine first film working with Odad.
Yeah. I didn't imagine. I mean, I didn't even think of it. So
Congratulations. Uh, Odad had said, this is for Anthony Dasan, that he wanted to find the story of the other. For example, you go to anywhere in Europe, you'll find these immigrants who come with roses and sell in restaurants. He wanted to know the story of the other. You have been an immigrant too, like that. So, how did that expression of Odad and what was your dialogue with Odad?
அவரோட என்ன வந்துட்டு தி அதர் மற்றவங்கள பற்றின கதையை சொல்லணும் அப்படிங்கிறது தான். ஸோ யூரோப்பில் பூராமே வர இமிக்ரெண்ட்ஸ் மோஸ்ட்லி வந்துட்டு அந்த ரோஸ் வித்துக்கிட்டு இது பண்ணிட்டு ஸோ அவங்களுடைய கதை என்ன அப்படின்ட்டு சொல்லணும் அப்படிங்கிறது தான் வந்து அவர் இது பண்ணார். ஸோ உங்களுடைய எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் நீங்கள் வந்து அப்படி தானே வந்தீங்க யூரோப்புக்கு. ஸோ உங்களுடைய அவர் கூட ஒர்க் பண்ணது ப்ளஸ் உங்களுடைய his
experience and his dialogue with other. See, the thing is, he wanted to know the other, and he was the other.
ஸோ அவருக்கு வந்து அந்த மற்றவங்க யார் அப்படிங்கிறது தெரிஞ்சுக்கணுன்ற ஒரு இது இருந்தது. நீங்கள் அந்த மற்றவங்களா இருந்தீங்க. ஸோ உங்களுக்கும் அவருக்கும் இருந்த ஒரு அந்த ஒரு உரையாடலும் கனெக்ட் ஒர்க் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப்பு.
நான் இந்த படத்தில் வர மாதிரி நானும் ஒரு திருட்டு பாஸ்போர்ட்டில் அகதியாத்தான் ஃப்ரான்ஸுக்கு போய் ஒரு 23 வருடங்கள் இந்த தீவனை போல் சட்டவிரோதமான வேலைகள் செய்து போலீஸாரால் துரத்தப்பட்டு விசா இல்லாமல் வாழ்த்துட்டு இருக்கக்கூடிய ஆள். ஆனால் இந்த படத்தை பொறுத்தளவில் எனக்கும் அவருக்கும் உரையாடல்கள் நடந்ததாக சொல்ல முடியாது. ஏனென்று சொன்னால் அவர் திரைக்கதையெல்லாம் எழுதிட்டு ஷூட்டிங் போகிற நேரத்தில் தான் என்னை அவர் தேர்வு செய்தார். ஆகவே வந்து இந்த படத்தை பொறுத்தளவில் எனக்கும் அவருக்கும் அந்த உரையாடல் நடந்ததில்லை. அவ்வளோதான்.
Can you explain?
Okay, so like Deepan, I too had a fake passport and I have done lots of illegal stuff like Deepan in the film for survival.
Migrated to Paris.
Yeah,
right?
he migrated to Paris because he had the fake French passport like the protagonist in the film. So and he has been living in Paris for the past 23 years and now he's a legal resident. This is my contribution. So as far as the film is concerned, there was no during the conception of the film and during the work of the film, there was no such conversation or interaction between me and Odya. There wasn't, because the film, the story, the script, everything was conceived much before he met me. So he says there hasn't been a conversation about the film while the film was on as such.
So before you both the actors came onto the set, there was a finished script, okay? But it made it so comfortable. For example, it is an alien language for Odad, okay? And he made it feel as though he knows the language beyond us. So how was that for you to relate to what Odad had written?
ஆமாம், பெரிய ஒரு சிரமமான வேலை தான் அது. அந்த படத்தில் வந்து நடித்தவர்களில் அந்த படத்தில் வந்து 80 விதமான மொழி இலங்கை தமிழ். அதில் அந்த முழு பட யூனிட்லேயே இலங்கை தமிழ் பேச தெரிஞ்ச ஒரே ஆள் நான் தான், இல்லையா? நம்ம அந்த சிறுமி வந்து ஃப்ரான்ஸிலே பிறந்து வளர்ந்தால அவங்களுக்கு இலங்கை தமிழ் அவ்வளோ வரும்னு சொல்ல முடியாது. ஸோ இயக்குனருக்கோ மற்ற யாருக்குமே மொழி தெரியாது. மிகுந்த சிரமம் தான் பட்டம். அவருடைய பொறுமை ஒரு மிக முக்கியமான காரணம்.
So as far as the language is concerned, I was the only one who knew the language properly, because even the little girl, Claudine, she was, though she is of Sri Lankan origin, she was born in Paris. And for everyone else in the crew, the language was an alien, was of course a foreign language. So so it is his patience towards it is his patience that carried on while working with a foreign language during the film. So if I may add on something to it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the languages are definitely foreign to Odyar. Even after the filming, I mean, even after the shoot got over, he couldn't speak, I mean, he wouldn't or he couldn't speak even 2 words in Tamil. And but every time when, like, there's a dialogue that's going on, he of course knows the meaning of the dialogue, but he would correct me, saying, why don't you say it in this rhythm? This is what it tries to convey. So I personally felt that beyond language, there was a form of communication amongst us, as 3 or 4 people trying to convey something together to the audience. So to me, this movie is like one of like a strongest proof of proof that cinema or art is beyond language. It communicates. The work communicates itself with and beyond language and Ramadri.
I think I'd like to add to that. I personally too had an experience Is it something to do with the French? I don't know. I had a French cinematographer to working on a Tamil film, and he had no idea of the language. But when he was in the scene, he could understand with the sound of the language, the emotion. So he was able to capture it well. So I think, as you said, it goes beyond the language. Okay. Now, to you, Yalini.
Kali.
Okay. So you are you've studied psychology, right? Correct? Yes. And from there gone to theater and then to acting. What made you get this role and how did you prepare for it?
Honestly, I don't know. I really don't know till date, and I never bothered. Also, I did not want to ask the director as to why did you choose me, or what was it that made you consider me for the character. I never could get myself to ask him that question. And B, I really don't know how I prepared. Now that I think of it, of course the theater, what I learned in theater helped me. Um, and if I have to answer the question, I think beyond a point, it's just like a child in you. You create a world for yourself in your head. If you consider, hey, I'm a lion, so I live in a jungle, and this is it. It was kind of a world that I created, if I could say that, as Yarini in my head, which maybe helped me prepare for the character. I really don't know, and I think, as an actor, if I can call myself that, not knowing how it happens is part of my experience and my connection with the art. So I really do not know, and I'm not very keen on knowing the methodology of how it happened.
So it's kind of a natural process for you when a character comes to you and you're able to absorb the character.
I would love to say something like that, but I don't know. I mean, it's definitely not as simple as that. But I feel that the process for each actor is different. Some people need to prepare very methodically from what the outfit is, and this and that and that and this. For some others, it's spontaneous. I think it's a very individual journey, and I have a certain relationship with my character. If there are actors here, they probably feel that this makes sense. So that's.
To that, I want to ask you, like, say, fine, you did that character, you had so much intensity in your performance. Now the film came out. How much of the character is still with you?
I hope not much of it is there with me, because I really don't like her. Yeah, I really hated Yani the first time I saw her on the screen. I was like, no, she's so mean, she's so this. And
So selfish.
yeah, and like almost ஒரு ஃபீமேல் பீஸ்ட் மாதிரி தான். ஃபார் சர்வைவல் ஷில் டூ எனி திங் என்ற மாதிரி. அண்ட் பட் ஹேவிங் செட் தட், I also realized that that's the human quality, இல்லையா, to do things to survive. So I've learned quite a lot from her, but I really don't think I want anything of her in me. I really don't want anything of any of my characters to be there in me. I want to be me.
Antonythasan sir. Now, your background is you're coming from a very, what do you say, fisherman family, okay? And you have a background of writing. You're a writer, poet, and then on to acting. Now, how much of your writing has influenced you as an actor in performing?
எழுத்துங்கிறது வந்து கற்பனையோட சம்மந்தப்பட்டது. இப்போ நாங்கள் ஒரு எழுத்தில் வந்து ஒரு கதாபாத்திரத்தை கற்பனை செய்கிற மாதிரி, இந்த பாத்திரத்தை பற்றி எனக்கு ஜெக்கோடியார் விளங்கப்படுத்தும் பொழுது அந்த பாத்திரத்தை நாங்கள் கற்பனை செய்வதற்கு அந்த எழுத்து பயிற்சி எனக்கு உதவியது. அவ்வளோதான் சொல்ல முடியும். மற்றதை நடித்தோம்னு சொன்னால் சின்ன வயசுலேருந்து ஆமிகிட்ட நடிச்சு, போலீஸ்கிட்ட நடிச்சு, சிஐடிட்ட நடிச்சு, யூரோப்பில் போய் ஜட்ஜிட்ட நடிச்சு, அதெல்லாம் அப்படி நடிப்பு தன்னால் வந்துட்டு.
எப்படி சொல்கிறது? Okay.
He says life has made me act, right? in front of many situations. When I had to face a policeman, when I had to face a judge, when I had to place different authorities, he had to act, and that was so natural for him.
So yeah, the first part is that I'm a writer. So writing helps me visualize, imagine the character. So that aspect of writing helped me visualize and create and imagine this character when Odya described him, Deepan, to me. And of course, the acting part, as Bharat Bala sir said, I've been acting right from my childhood to the police, to the army, to the military, to the tigers, and after coming to Europe, to the judge, to the to the people over here. So that aspect of it just kind of அப்படி இங்க இருந்து it went off to acting in the film. So
Is the film is somewhat biographical for you? Yeah, yeah. So was it more? Were you able to add more to it just because it is so close to you? It's not an alien subject. It was almost like your personal story. It was your own journey. So were you able to add a lot more value to this character, and it made you much more stronger to do this role?
இந்த படத்தை விட என்னுடைய ஆட்டோபயோகிராஃபி பல மடங்கு கஷ்டமானது. இந்த படத்தில் அவன் 2 நாளில் போயிட்டான் ஸ்ரீலங்காவிலேருந்து ஃப்ரான்ஸுக்கு. என்னுடைய பயண காலம் 5 வருஷம். நான் இலங்கையிலேருந்து கிளம்பி ஃப்ரான்ஸ் போய் சேர மட்டும் நான் 5 வருஷம் இந்த சவுத் ஆசியா, சிங்கப்பூர், மலேசியாவில் அடிபட்டு இருக்கா ஜெயிலெல்லாம் இருந்து நான் 5 தான் போனேன். அவன் போகும்போது 2 பேரோடு போனான். ஒரு துணைக்கு 2 பேர் வந்தாங்க. எனக்கு அப்படி யாருமே இல்லை. நான் 24 வயதில் தனியாக கிளம்பி போய் என்னுடைய வாழ்க்கை தீவனை விட மிக கஷ்டமான வாழ்க்கை தான் என்னுடைய வாழ்க்கை. மற்றபடி தீபன் ஒரு முன்னாள் எல்டிடி போராளி, நான் ஒரு முன்னாள் எல்டிடி போராளி, 2 பேருமே அகதிகள். இவை ஒற்றுமைகள் நமக்கிடையே.
Okay, my story is much more there's more suffering in my story because and painful than the story of Deepan, because it wasn't as simple as how it was for him in the film. He left from Sri Lanka in 2 days to Europe, and with 2 people, even if they were strangers, they were kind of a support to him. But I left Sri Lanka, and I had to, it took me 5 years to reach Paris. I went all over the world with no passport, the whole of almost the whole of South Asia, Indonesia, Malaysia, and things like that. And there was a lot of suffering that happened during that time. And I left Sri Lanka at the age of 24, and I was alone, unlike Deepan. So the journey is much more painful than it was for Deepan, and not just the journey, but the life journey itself. So,
one thing that you're very proud of is that your first film itself took you to the podium in Cannes, Palme d'Or. Great director, a great platform, very well acclaimed around the world. How do you see the next script when it comes to you? What kind of, it's just that what goes within you to say, how do you choose your next film? How do you choose your next character? This is a question for both of you, and what kind of cinema you want to do. Because, for example, look at what, it looks like a Tamil film, what Deepan did. It's an international film, but it's a Tamil film. And you look at what Tamil cinema is doing. So how do you try to say, I want to be in cinema, and how do you find your roles as actors?
It's a very difficult question, actually, because the reason I wanted to work with Mr. Odyar was, of course, we knew a little bit about the script before the audition. But after the audition, it was the way the audition was conducted that made me feel like I want to work with this director, because he has put in so much of effort to choose a particular casting director who worked in a way that is phenomenal for an audition. So I want to work with him because it would be a great experience. That was it. The script, the story, everything came later. And now after such an experience, leaving aside, of course, the Cannes, the awards and the festivals, it was great. But the work itself was was the thing for me, because I'm an actor and I need to be fed with good work. And I do theater. That is where I come from. So I do not look at it as I want to be only in cinema or only in theater. For me, my work is my food, and I want to be fed and nourished properly. So wherever that nourishment, that you know that meat comes from is there, that's what I want to do. So I've done a play soon after Deepan. So I that was little quite similar to what happened in Deepan, the similar character but much more intense and difficult. So that was a great work for me. And I would like to do something completely different. Play I don't know, play something in a character in a science fiction or things like that. So I'm just looking for things, work, roles, character, stories that would feed me as an actor, as an artist. So that's my motive to choose a particular work. That's that.
In that respect, to this year, if we is
Yeah,
South
yeah.
Korea is the
Yeah.
focus country, there should be a lot of Tamil filmmakers here. But as in your childhood, sir, you have grown up with the appetite of MGR. You are one of his ardent fans, a man who has seen only his commercial cinema and grown up and also written about it in your book. Okay, so how come this transformation when you have idolized MGR and you are now talking different cinema altogether?
சின்ன வயசில் எம்ஜிஆர் எங்களை பாதித்ததற்கான காரணம் அவருடைய நடிப்பு திறமையோ மற்ற விஷயங்களோ கிடையாது. அவர் அவர் ஏழை பங்காளனாக நடித்த அந்த விஷயங்கள் இருக்குத்தானே, தாயை காப்பாற்றுவது, அநீதிக்கு எதிராக போராடுவது, இந்த விஷயங்கள் என்ன
நடிப்பு தானே சார்?
இல்லை, அவர் அரசியலில் அதை நடித்தார், அது வேறு பிரச்சனை. அது அரசியல் இழப்பாங்களாம் நடித்தார், திரைப்படங்கள் நடித்தார். ஆனால் அந்த வயசில் வந்து எங்களுக்கு ஏன்னா மிகவும் பின்தங்கிய வறுமைப்பட்ட சூழலில் வளர்ந்த நாங்கள் ஒரு பத்திரிகை படிப்பதற்கு கூட எங்களுக்கு வாய்ப்பு இருக்காது. ஒரு அரசியல் இயக்கங்கள், அரசியல் கட்சிகள் எங்களுடைய கிராமத்துக்கு வராது. ஆக எங்களுக்கு ஏழைக்கு உதவி செய், அம்மாவை அடிக்காதே, நல்லவனாயிரு என்று எங்களுக்கு சொல்லி தந்தது எம்ஜிஆர் மட்டும்தான். அதற்கு பின்பு தான் மற்ற தத்துவங்கள் புத்தகங்கள் எல்லாம் படிக்க ஆரம்பித்தோம். அந்த வகையிலே எம்ஜிஆர் மீது இள வயதிலே ஒரு ஈர்ப்பு இருந்தது. அவ்வளவுதான். அதிலிருந்து நான் மீண்டு விட்டேன். ஒரு 15-16 வயசிலே மீண்டுட்டேன் அதிலிருந்து.
Okay, so the reason for me being an ardent fan of MJR was not his acting skills or the stories or whatever, but the fact that he was portraying himself as the savior of the poor, and the one who cares for his mother, the good yeah, like the savior, like a very good person in life. And his acting was, of course, there in his political life as the savior of people. But in my childhood, where there was a lot of poverty and we didn't have access to even journals and papers and magazines, this was the thing that that we had access to, where MJR was saying, don't beat your mother, take care of your mother, don't do this, do good things. So that was the aspect of attraction for me towards MJR. But I've gotten out of it. I'd gotten out of it much earlier, like during my teens when I was 15-16. So it's no longer the case. But this was a reason for me for having been a great fan of MJR.
Now coming back to you,
Yes, sir.
this whole thing about performing on stage and writing your own play and being in front of camera, these are two different worlds. Can you elaborate on that and how do you deal with it?
I don't write my own plays. I cannot write. I only act. I try to be. I thought before this film happened, I had a kind of preconceived notion about films. It's easy to do films, yeah. Theatre is what is like, really serious and intense. What do those guys know about what is it to go on stage? And like personally, of course, there are masters, but you keep the masters aside and you only compare the contemporary people with with your work. But after the film, it has opened another perspective for me about cinema, that each one competes with each other, both the mediums, to make it difficult for you, to make literally life, difficult for you. I understand why people get their head messed up after playing, Gandhi or a Fulan Devi or, um, uh, characters. So each one is, uh, both of them are very difficult. Both of them are very like hard hitting, and how you deal with it is again up to yourself. I'm sorry, I don't think I'll be able to give you this is how it is and that's how it is, because for me everything is personal. I haven't gotten to that stage where I can say this is how it would be if you do theater in a certain way. You would be feeling like this, and this is how you would deal with it, and this is how you create a character, or this is how you face the camera, and these would be the differences. So
Also, I forgot to ask, what did Odad say after the film was done? It was screened. Okay, what was his reaction, and what did he tell you both?
ஸ்க்ரீனில் பார்த்தா ப்ரோவா நல்லா இருக்கு, அவர் நல்லா இருக்கா தெரியலையே, நல்லா இருக்கா தெரியலையே, என்ன சொல்ல போகிறாங்களோ என்ன சொல்ல போகிறாங்களோ அப்படிதான் புலம்பிட்டு இருந்தார்.
okay,
அவரும் பயந்து எங்களையும் பயப்படுத்தி.
his only reaction was, I mean, that's after the screening, his reaction, his state of mind was, I think, I mean, was what a, I don't know if it's a good movie or not. I don't know what these people are thinking about it. I don't know what they feel about it.
குறிப்பாக தமிழ் கம்யூனிட்டி அன்னைக்கு ஒன்று.
And what would be the reaction, or how would the Tamil community there react? So these were the things that was going on in his head.
And also, he created a scare in you, both of you, right?
Yeah, and he kind of scared both of us. We had major discussions about how the film is going to be received, and he was preparing us for that.
Okay, good. So, any other directors that you have dreamed of working, want to work with, wish list?
எனக்கு அவருக்கா
ரெண்டு பேருக்கும்
அவர் சொல்லிட்டோம் முதல்ல.
இந்த டேரக்டரோட ஒர்க் பண்ண விருப்பம் இருக்கேன்னா அவங்க எல்லாருமே செத்து போயிட்டாங்க.
தெய்வமே. See, they're all gone and dead, and
அவங்க சமாதிக்கு தான் போய் நடிக்கணும். You can be more contemporary in your answer.
Ayyo, okay. I really don't have a wish list. Anything that I've wished for in my life has never happened. And whatever has happened, which I didn't wish for, has been good. So I really don't want to wish. I don't have any that here, this, that. Whatever happens, happens.
I'm sure the audience, there'll be some interesting questions. So I think we should also know what people have to ask. So if there's anybody have a specific question to ask.
போலாம்.
Eh?
எங்கேயோ இருக்கிற மாதிரி தெரியல.
அப்படியா? தெளிவா இருக்காங்க. Okay. Good. So looks like, so can we just play the clip, the trailer? If anybody can play.
நான் இருக்கணுமா அப்ப?
You're playing it? Okay. I think. I got it. Projector off.
This light has to go.
Yeah. Can you switch off the lights? What do you need? languages, right? How did you react? Because you don't know French, right? So how did you figure that out?
That was quite interesting actually. Yanaka, the old man, he is Moroccan. And of course, if you've seen the film, you would know that he doesn't speak at all. So it was just a silent way of communication. With the guy, with a French, with a nephew, Brahim. I don't know French, but I was made to learn a little bit of French, which didn't help much at all. So we would have rehearsals with him and me with the director, and we would try, and he would give us a situation and we would try to improvise on that with him in his language and me in my language. So at some point it so happened that what he is saying, I can't understand the language, but I was responding in a way which kind of connected to what he was saying, and he was responding in a way which was connected to what I was saying, though of course he didn't know Tamil. So in his movies, in Mr. Odia's movies, I think every other film has this little bit of bonding beyond language happening. On the beat that skipped my heart la, the Japanese teacher and the hero, they would talk in Japanese and French. They would talk and they don't understand each other's language. அந்த மாதிரி தான் எங்கேயும் ஆயிடுச்சு. ஸோ அப்படி and it was very interesting. It was like magic, seriously. Yeah.
So have you both seen his have you both seen Rust and Bone, Prophet, everything before you got into this film? Did you get to watch it?
He has seen. Now I just saw Prophet by accident after the audition. So until then I didn't know who he was, which was good actually.
அப்பா தான் பிரெஞ்சு சினிமாவுடைய தந்தைங்கிறது மிஷலோடியா.
Uh-huh.
நாங்கள் பரம்பரையே பார்க்குறோம், குடும்பத்துக்கே ரசிகர்கள்.
Because Mr. Odia's father, who is Michel Odia, he's like a major figure master in French cinema. So he's saying that we are fans of the whole family, father, son, and.
Thank you. Is there anything else you would like to say?
Yeah. So, same. Nano adhan. Thank you for
Thank you for being
here,
inviting us,
and for being here, for listening to us, hearing us out.
Thank you for making this journey, and really look forward to some more wonderful films. And also, is there that something that if this goes on in my mind, like if they say find a story and they say, okay, let's cast Antonythasan, do they naturally find Kalieaswari also? Is it happening?
Yes and no. ஒரு film which didn't happen now, which hasn't happened, so happened that both of us were to be cast together. But apart from that, no. It's not happening, which is good.
Okay. Wishing you all the very best, and thank you for coming to IFFI and Goa, and look forward to more interesting films with new directors and new ideas. Okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you.